Greetings, listeners. This is Thrice, a Sinister Siblings podcast where the three of us watch a horror movie not once, not twice, but thrice to see what's revealed with repeat viewings. My name is Adam. Together with me is Mark.
Hello, everybody.
And Tracy.
Hello.
So to give you a bit of a rundown, if you haven't heard any of our episodes before, as Adam was saying, we watched the movie 3 times. The idea being we'll do our recording in 3 sessions. First session being our initial personal impressions of the movie once we've watched it. The second one being with the next viewing with input from each other. And then the third one being with some external input. So whether that's from people involved with creating the movie or from reviews and things that we find online. Really important to mention that it's quite spoiler heavy the way these ones work. So if you haven't seen the film we're reviewing tonight, I would recommend coming back and listening to it afterwards. Now, my darling sister Tracy will tell you what tonight's episode is all about.
Okay, so the movie this time is Longlegs. So Longlegs is a horror film by Osgood Perkins, and the synopsis is as follows. FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes unexpected turns, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again.
Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. So what were our first impressions? So I think I found the opening of the film quite impactful. It sort of set the tone for me. What did you guys think?
Yeah. Well, generally?
Well, just to begin with, what kicked you up? Were you enthralled from the get-go, or were you not enthralled at all?
Well, it certainly puts forward its visual style very early on. You know, in the whole, everything you need to know about what this scene's going to look like comes together in that first scene and in the title screen and everything. That sort of red, kind of retro title screen.
That sort of Super 8.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Like the Wonder Years used to have.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, it was. I like
Wonder if there's any other Wonder Years parallels.
Yes.
Probably not.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Well, one of those little dolls did look like Prince Albert.
That's true. That's true. Maybe there'll be a Winnie Cooper doll if you look closer.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, it was a cool opening scene.
yeah.
And it's a much, I'm looking forward to getting into it. It's a much hyped movie. It's doing
Yes.
very well.
So as we're recording this, it's 100 days till Halloween. And yeah, it's apparently had the best opening here in Australia of a horror film all year. So I think it's been doing pretty well. I think internationally it's potentially the best opening for a horror film too. So
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, I don't know, you could talk about the marketing campaign or, just the sort of viral sensation thing as much as you could about the movie itself. Not that it doesn't warrant the attention, but it's just interesting how much, to me, it's interesting how much sort of viral traction this movie has gotten. Like, people I work with know about it and are interested in it, and they're not people that necessarily check out horror movies or anything. So it's definitely kind of crossed divides.
Well, I think like we were just saying, the trailer itself stands out.
Yeah.
So it's, how you sort of know, they're almost like a formula to I guess to many trailers, but particularly to horror trailers, like you kind of have your formula. Whereas this one, it does stand out. It is different. Even the font, like the typeface that's used, that kind of red colouring, the kind of like, what we were saying, the Super 8 camera, sort of like, it's almost like video footage has been spliced together and cut and paste. It's quite reminiscent of Seven, that movie Seven from the 90s. It's kind of got
the late 1900s.
Yes, late 1900s. It's kind of got a bit of that, vibe that sort of speaks to the serial killer aspect, which perhaps maybe some people have, related to and gone, oh, yeah.
Are you going to put it on record that you think Oz Perkins has got a David Fincher vibe?
I think so, yes.
Do you mean the trailer or the movie itself?
Both. But how about you, Mark? What did you think from the start?
Well, look, I might be the dissenting voice on this particular one. I initially it was quite visually grabbing. I found the deliberate slow pacing of the film is not to my taste. As much as you're talking about the viral success of the numbers that it's drummed up, I've found the film pretty derivative, to be honest. And reminder again, everybody, lots of spoilers. But it just came across to me a little bit. And look, I get everything is not created in a vacuum, and any particular movie is going to be informed by things that have come beforehand. But to me, it riffed a lot on Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Clarice Starling in Lee Harker's character, that rookie FBI agent who somehow ends up on like the biggest case of the FBI has.
With the connection with the serial killer.
And that sort of cat and mouse element to it. So I found that element, and then it got sliced in really hard with Carrie. So we had the detective, special agent. She's got this somewhat psychic power. There's a supernatural bend. Her mum looked almost identical to Julianne Moore's character in the Carrie remake from about 10 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So her mum was very much Margaret White.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of devout Christian who's got to this point where everything's screwy in her head.
Yeah.
And I just found I was looking at those things going, oh, okay, what's new here? The synopsis that you read, you're like, oh, you know, serial killer getting hunted down.
Yeah, well, that's par for the course.
And even, you know, like Longlegs as the character had a Buffalo Bill vibe. There was a transgender gender fluidity to the look.
Yeah.
Which was a great visual look, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it felt to me I was looking at Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, in some ways. I didn't get the Carrie reference. I do sort of can see what you mean now, but I didn't realise until you just said that. I didn't realise she was a Christian. I thought she was like what do you call it? One of those acid casualties, like a hippie, because her house is in the film, their mum's house is a hoard. You know, it's
lots of knitted blankets and things.
Yeah, and it's it's filled with junk, and she lives sort of out in the country. So I sort of got she was like this kind of like from a commune, broken down sort of hippie person who just done way too much LSD. Yeah, that's. And then, later on.
About the prayers, so.
But even then, I mean, you could be having all kinds. You could be.
That's the thing. Are you saying your prayers? Are you saying your prayers? And yet, we soon find out that, in essence, Mum's been helping a Satanist for decades.
Yes, but that comes much later in the piece. Yeah. But right back towards the beginning of the film,
winding it back.
Yeah, winding it back a little bit. So basically, it's Michael Monroe who plays Lee Harker, and I guess. What did you guys think of her portrayal of Lee? So I found the persona and her delivery, again, to be very slow-paced. And at times you sort of it was very confusing because I thought she obviously has this, intuition, this psychic ability, which the FBI nurtures and embraces, which I thought was very strange, and very strange how it obviously has translated into like a public persona, like it's kind of what she's known for. So I found that to be, I mean, the whole film you kind of have to suspend reality a little bit for it, but I just found her portrayal at times, I know she was meant to be sort of have all of this, I don't know, was she meant to be traumatized? I'm not sure.
She seemed like she definitely seemed troubled.
Yeah.
The character is troubled, and that kind of bothered me. There's a few things about this movie that troubled me.
Let it out. Safe space.
So there's a discourse going around this movie that it's not a horror movie, it's a crime movie. And initially we were thinking we weren't going to do it for the podcast for that reason. But when I saw it, I actually kind of felt it was the opposite. It wasn't a crime movie. It's very much a horror movie in that its emphasis is on the scares. The actual procedural crime elements, the threads that tie scenes together, are not very strong.
No.
You mean when she goes, that house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
not exactly super detective.
Well, just that we're talking about the psychic ability. That wasn't followed through, and it wasn't even really necessary. She gets to the killer through the psychic ability doesn't help her get the killer at all.
I think I think what I found was throughout the film, she sort of had these moments where she sort of seemed to, well, she did have visions. Like she, it's like a psychic who touches something and can see the emotion of the person who last touched it or who they were. So she sort of had those moments where you knew she was on the trail of the serial killer because she would be in a room or she would touch something and she'd get a vision of something kind of diabolical and you go, oh, okay, all right, so I guess it helped in that respect. But yeah, what did you think, Mark?
Well, I'm going to put 2 and 2 together and get 5 because that's the fun of speculating on these things. So the Satanist element and the supernatural element that Longlegs brings to it all is personified in the dolls that he creates and plants in these houses.
Yeah, so do you want to tell our friends about these dolls and what all of that means?
So he makes dolls, and, and so so one of the big mysteries about how Longlegs is doing what he's doing is because there's
even sort of take a step back from that. It seems that there's people being killed.
It's been going on for 30 years.
Yeah, it's been going on for 30 years, and they can't seem to think, they're being killed by their own family members. But there's some link to...
Well, they're killed by their own family members, but there's a coded message that's left at every crime scene.
Yeah.
It's in a coded language, but there's one word that's legible, and it says Longlegs.
Longlegs, yeah. So they're trying to work out what's the link.
And how that ends up in the house, but there's no physical evidence, which I found a massive plot hole because we find out in the end that Lee's mum has been taking these dolls into the house, which would then say somehow mum's not left any DNA evidence or physical evidence of her being in the house. But nonetheless, because movies. So these dolls is where he's infusing this evil possessiveness into these dolls, which Lee's mum's taking into the house and then basically bearing witness to these crimes happening and then packing the doll under her arm and taking off again.
The reason Lee's mum is doing this is it relates to the very first scene of the film. So in that first scene of the film where the serial killer Longlegs meets up with a young girl in the snow, that young girl is Lee. And so he had come to bring a doll for Lee, which is infused with the devil and the devil's going to take her and blah, blah, blah. And Mum has pleaded with him for Lee's life. So in exchange, she's had to go in league with the devil. So for the past 30 years, she's been delivering the dolls on his request. And actually, as far as I made out, he was living in her house. Yes. He was downstairs making his, his toys and everything.
Workshop.
Yeah. So she's had to do this deal so her daughter could live and not be taken.
See, that bothered me too. So this whole deal, this personal connection that she has, it's pure fluke that this case that she has a deep personal connection to just fell on her desk.
Yeah.
Well, no, I have a theory about this, which I'll come to in 1 second, but let me just come back to what we're talking about, my impressions of Lee. I thought they were making a deliberate choice to have her be very sort of sleepwalky, doll-like, to suggest somewhat that she was a puppet of some sort, and that Longlegs was actually orchestrating everything that was happening, with the reason being, and we won't jump to the end just this very second, but I believe he was setting her up to take her mother's place. So I think the events of the film unravel because he's actually orchestrating this to happen. Because you don't go 30 years without leaving a trace and then suddenly come to the surface so easily is what I
he definitely gave himself up.
He was standing at the bus stop just waiting for people to come and get him.
He definitely decided, and that was obviously part of his game.
I can't remember what it was.
But actually, no, you know
just
what it
quickly,
was?
just a little bit like in Seven, where John Doe decides to let himself get picked up.
Well, and that was exactly it, because the Lee Harker, she unravels his coded messages, which she discovers an algorithm, and he only has one more kill to do to complete the satanic algorithm. So that's why he knew who the last people to die would be. And so he was ready to give himself up because, like I think you say, he'd set Lee up to be a part of it. And he also had the final kill already organised and set up. So his work was finished.
They got to him by... She found a photo of him.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Somebody said go back and ask your mum.
Yeah, no, she was going...
Or did he say it?
She was going through her old photos. She found a photo of him.
Yes.
And
But
she
someone
was-
told her to go and look for it. I can't think who it was.
Yeah, to look through her past or something like that.
the girl at the
Or was it her supervisor?
It was the girl at Asylum, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Kiernan Shipka in a little cameo there.
Okay, so does someone want to describe the girl in the asylum? Who was she? Does
Her
someone
name's
want to?
Carrie.
She was a survivor. No?
Yes,
Yes.
she was the only survivor.
She was at school on the day or something
Yeah.
when her family was murdered.
Yeah, when her doll arrived. Because that is probably one of the best creepy scenes in the film.
Yeah.
Is because they find this girl in the asylum and they go to talk to her again. Why they haven't talked to her previously is anyone's guess. But
Because
anyway.
she was catatonic.
Oh, okay. So she's suddenly woken up. So they go to visit her. She says, and they go, okay, we're going to go visit her. She's the final, well, the only survivor. And then we're going to go to her house, which was a farm,
The crime scene.
because after Lee decodes all of the messages, he mentions this farm repeatedly. So they feel like it's got special significance. They go there, fossicking around. I think they go there in the dark because why would you go during the day? And they're fossicking around. They're in the barn. They find, I think it's a cross that's on the, I don't know, the wooden
Attached to the floorboards. Kind of
floor,
thing.
and dig it up. And for a second, you really don't know what the heck is going on. There's a completely life-size, child-size doll that's kind of balding. It looks completely human.
Yeah, super creepy.
Super creepy, and they kind of said it, and they're going, what the heck is this? And then it opens its eyes. And I think that's when the girl wakes up in the sanatorium.
Yeah.
And then she just says, go check in your history. So,
That bothered me too, though. It's like, what, they didn't check out that crime scene? They wouldn't have found that doll at the time?
well, I guess if you're looking at a domestic violence situation,
I suppose, maybe not.
you're not going to
There
go
was
digging
under
around in
floorboards
the,
and stuff.
under the floorboards in the barn. You're going to be like, well, it's obvious Dad did this.
True. Some things you just have to go with.
And particularly as it, it would have been in the past. Because also, I guess it's relevant to say this film's set in the mid-90s.
Yeah, I made a note about that. They were very keen to go, look, it's Bill Clinton on the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Several times to go, it's the early 90s.
yeah.
Why they chose the early 90s, I'm not sure.
No. I mean, maybe the writer has a special affinity for that genre, that decade, or perhaps even earlier than that, because a lot of the activity was taking place in the sort of 70s and 80s when you are looking back at his previous crimes. Maybe also because things like DNA
I think that's the thing. I feel like,
weren't as advanced.
yeah, like it could be wrong, but I feel like almost like you can't have serial killers like that anymore because we're too good at detecting them.
Oh, I don't know.
That could be
about
wrong.
that.
I hope I'm right. But like, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's just nostalgia.
Yeah.
Just on Kiernan Shipka too, she's working hard, just a little cameo. She was in the Twisters movie. Not that's part of this podcast, but she had a little spot in Twisters. Obviously a little spot in this one. She was actually
That's the guy
in...
from Sabrina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was actually in a film of Oz Perkins from about 10 years ago called
The Black Coat.
February, or The Black Coat's Daughter, yeah. So obviously the two of them have a little bit of a connection there, which is cool.
I want to watch that one as a companion piece to our second episode because I haven't watched it yet.
Ah, well, actually, we'll get to a companion piece to be looking at that, I reckon. So, yeah, I just want to talk about... I don't want to pick on plot holes. I'm not talking about that. But I don't know whether it's something they would explore in other lore with books or further movies. So, obviously, so much of this was numerology around birthdays.
Yeah.
And things happening a couple of days before or a couple of days after the birthday on the 14th.
Because it was the daughter in the family when her birthday was depended on whether they'd get chosen.
Correct. And we know that Lee's birthday was the 14th and everything sort of started. So is that why the whole thing's on the 14th then? Is it because it started with Lee? Or are we saying things happened before? Because they sort of suggest when she was researching, it kind of, her research kind of stopped like the year after whatever happened to her, suggesting it sort of started from her.
Yeah, I'm not really.
So whether Longlegs was just a run-of-the-mill kind of crazy nut in the early 70s or whatever it was.
I think it definitely escalated. I think that would have been a really good scene, or really good to know is because I felt like the occult stuff was kind of dumped on us kind of like halfway through the film. For a while it was just like, okay, he's just a crazy, psycho killer. He's somehow getting people to kill themselves. He's writing things in code. He's a bit creepy and a bit, because he's not hiding away. Like there's a scene where he goes into like a hardware shop or something, and the girl's like, "Oh, that stupid crazy guy's back, Dad."
Yeah.
So, he's not sort of hiding away. But I felt at some point, I think it's her supervisor was like, "Oh yeah, there's all this occult stuff," and I was like, "Oh, is there? Oh, okay." So I think I would have liked to have really known. And then when you find out, oh no, it's legit. He really is in league with the devil, and because there's a weird like silver ball thing that's in the dolls' heads that's kind of out of this world. And so I think I just would have liked more information around that, because I kind of felt that was just like...
Well, they just sort of took it on very... I don't know. I feel like there was maybe another edit of this movie. And sometimes too much exposition and things can kill a thing, definitely. But they just seem, pretty happy to be like, he's a Satanist. And it's like, okay, he's a Satanist.
Yeah.
And they just sort of...
But it was like the first I'd heard of it. Not that I knew him personally.
Which is,
But,
I don't know, which is fine. And I guess that was something that surprised me. The outcome of this movie ultimately surprised me. This is another reason why I think it definitely falls into more of a horror space. I guess I just thought... I mean, I had read and been told that it's like a spiritual successor to Seven and Silence of the Lambs and things like that. And it's like, okay, yes, it is. I can see it's kind of in that wheelhouse. But also, like, both of those movies, I guess particularly Seven, the murders are quite sort of extreme. But it's still grounded. He's just a man.
Yeah.
There's no Satan black magic.
No, real...
real Satan.
Yeah,
this guy
exactly.
is channeling Satan in these dolls.
Yeah.
And that kind of surprised me, I guess, that the movie went that way. And maybe that's a good thing. But the real world monsters are scarier, and I guess that's what I thought it was going to be.
They can have a dash of laziness when they go, oh, I know this doesn't make sense, that's because it's magic.
Yeah.
You're sort of like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
So...
Sorry, no. I was just going to say her relationship with her boss as well within the FBI, who's played by Blair Underwood.
L.A. Law.
Yeah, L.A. Law. And he was also in Sex and the City. He went out with Miranda. But anyway, I digress.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, so I just found that relationship to be a little strange. Like, he was drinking on the job and, and I thought it was really kind of ham-fisted how he was like, oh, no, you must come in and meet my wife and daughter. Like,
yeah, we need to shoehorn this relationship here.
Yeah.
Because you need to care about this girl.
And they conveniently... Now, why... Maybe I'm just a bit of a dummy, I'll concede to that, but why were... They just happened to be the last victims as well? Why did their last victims have to have anything to do with...
I think it was kind of like orchestrated by... Longlegs. I was going to say Silly Legs, but Longlegs.
Not quite as scary.
Yeah.
Mr. Silly Legs.
Mr. Silly Legs. I think he kind of orchestrated that. It was like, I guess if he's really in league with the devil, he's got like a bird's eye view of what's going on. And
well, this is why I say I think the whole thing was orchestrated, because we get to the end scenes. Massive spoiler alerts here, people, if you still haven't caught on. So her boss is dead. His wife is dead. Her mum is dead. There's basically now her in the house with the kid.
Yeah.
Now faced with that exact same decision that her mum had all those years ago, which is, do you let him have the girl or do you continue his work?
But why would she have to continue his work? He's dead and gone, Longlegs.
Well, Satan's not, though.
No, but, he's in the doll.
No, I feel like there's a deliberate ambiguity to the end of it, and that's the answer I came to, was that she was faced with that decision then of what's she going to do? Is she going to protect that girl? Is it going to be that same deal?
Well, also now that the mum is dead, she's no longer protected from Satan, right?
No, well, her mum blew the doll up. Remember, she shot the Lee doll.
Yes,
which then caused Lee to pass out and end up in Longlegs' lair.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, which I didn't quite understand why she ended up there, but then,
out of the way.
Yeah, movies.
Probably so we can also know that the lair was under the house.
Yeah, which you kind of got when she saw that locked door and there was creepy crawly coming out from under it, and you're like, well, there's something
And the other little clue I picked up, which was when she tried to call her mum and she's like, why did it take you so long to get to the phone? And then when she wakes up there herself and the phone's ringing, we see it takes her a long time to get to the phone, so you can connect.
Clever.
This is why I want to watch this movie. I'm happy to watch this movie a second time because I really want to see if I'm judging it a bit harshly and I just missed things. Because I kind of felt like, yeah, it was just it's kind of in a way lazy writing. There's so many coincidences about how it all ties back to this girl when really it didn't have to. In reality, it wouldn't. And I was like, and I want to watch it again to see. Oh no, that does make perfect sense.
And that's when you look at it, if you're going to hold it up to get such giants as something like Seven or Silence of the Lambs, you go, Seven ended up with Brad Pitt's character being involved quite naturally.
That's right.
He didn't have to be, but through the case,
That's right.
he ends up there.
Exactly.
And Silence of the Lambs was the same
He was
thing.
lacking.
Because Hannibal Lecter worked with Clarice and learnt about her and used that.
Yes.
And I feel, look, I agree with you on that space. It seems a lot of convenience, but then that can be stories.
Yeah. But then I guess also if you had the personal relationship with the mum and the child from back in the day, and then the child happens to become an FBI agent, you could perhaps change your game to incorporate the fact that she's part of law enforcement and the people that, because she is part of your web, the people she's then connected to, which happen to be in the FBI, become part of the game.
There was a line, wasn't it? The mum says we all laughed when you got into law enforcement.
I can't remember.
But there's certainly that element, that great old trope of the sins of the father being repeated on the child, because it's very much that way, sort of inverted, I guess, because it's mum. And I did make a note when I was watching it that they made a real point of having no dad. There was very much, it was very much mother and daughter live here together. No one comes to visit us.
Yeah.
And it feeds into this fairy tale vibe.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, she said, no one comes to visit us, not even any big bad wolves.
Yes.
And then we see this image of this snowy countryside.
Yeah.
And this little girl in a red hood.
Yes.
And I thought, well, this is all very clever. And having a quick look through Osgood Perkins' most recent works, he did a film called Gretel and Hansel just recently, which is a reimagining of that Grimm's fairy tale. So I think what you were saying, Adam, about the Black Coat's daughter, I also think we should probably have a look at Gretel and Hansel as a companion piece for this through our process.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to watch that for
It's
a long
interesting with
time.
the fairy tale thing. That's definitely a thing in there because, and but it's also when it is all revealed to us, the audience, what's been going on, it's done through a bedtime, like creepy as hell bedtime story that the mum is telling the daughter, or telling the audience. But, yeah.
And it's interesting from that side, because I suppose even Longlegs is a spidery, fairy tale kind of name, isn't it? Like a Rumpelstiltskin kind of thing.
He was.
Let's talk about that. And people love Nicolas Cage. People are showing up to this movie because it's Nicolas Cage. It's got a real cult following. I want to see creepy Nicolas Cage do a Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
What did we think of Nicolas Cage?
Yeah.
And the whole Longlegs, visually, it's a cool character.
You think he is?
Yeah.
I thought he was too. I really liked how for a large chunk of the movie you don't actually see his face. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, or in the trailer.
Or in the trailer. So I thought that was really, really well done. And then when you do, he was very, very unsettling. Like, I think they did a good job atmospherically. The whole thing was unsettling because nothing really made sense. Nothing was really hanging together well. It did have kind of a fairy tale sort of vibe.
Yeah, but even it was unsettling.
Yeah, and for the settings for me, like, sort of Lee lives in the woods in a little sort of cabin. Her mum's in this sort of ramshackly old house. There was lots of dark, there was lots of snow, and it kind of and then when you see Longlegs, and I even liked right at the beginning where when he's talking to her in the snow, he's like, oh, I've got my long legs on today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? I'm like, that is so creepy.
Because his head's out of frame, he's real tall.
Yeah, and it's just like, I thought that's so creepy. But then when he's waiting to be caught, and he's just kind of standing outside the road, and he kind of has this real sort of 70s hippie commune guy vibe, like a bit like the guy from T-Rex. What was his?
Mark Bolan.
Mark Bolan, kind of that real sort of 70s velvet flares and things. But
It's interesting because there's T-Rex music in the movie.
yes, yes. Well, that's exactly it. But that real sort of 70s living in a commune house, and that real faded kind of opulence almost. Like it used to be a really beautiful place and now it's fallen into disrepair. The same with him. He's sort of wearing like, a waistcoat
I'd like to know.
but he's all grotty and run down and he's got
Weird Tiny Tim.
I'd like to know
Tiny
how much
Tim
of that
as well.
is Nicolas Cage's sort of doing.
Yeah.
Whether it all comes from.
Yeah.
I did see a snippet somewhere. I think he said he based some of it off his mum.
Right.
So,
Because you're right, it did have like that sort of faded rocker.
Yeah. Kind of, and he liked his music too, didn't he? He was driving along with his music on in the car or something like that. So yeah, if that's the vibe, I feel like I've met people like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
it's funny because, like I said, with that gender fluidity element to it, you could imagine knocking on the wrong door and he would offer you gingerbread. Like,
Yeah. Or a spliff or something.
well, even that way, he's like the almost birthday girl. Like, you're just like, dude, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a birthday anymore,
Yeah. So very, very off-putting. And there's that, I saw it online. I don't know if it's I think it's part of the official marketing for the film, I think, where they have basically, I don't know what you call it, an ECG, a heart monitor on Micah because she hadn't, when she goes to interview him after he's been caught, she hadn't seen him dressed up as Longlegs. So it was the first time she'd seen him fully in character. So they've got her heartbeat going before she opens the door, and they had what her regular resting heartbeat was. So I don't know, I'm just making stuff up now, but it was like, say, 70 resting heartbeat. She opens the door and sees him all done up, and he's like, doing the whole, Longlegs thing, and her heartbeat goes up to 170 odd because she was just like, oh my God.
So yeah, again, marketing,
Yeah, it's interesting. I know we've talked about some of the films we've covered recently about secret societies pulling the strings behind, manipulating all of us. And it's interesting because I've noticed, obviously, we're talking about this adult fairy tale potential theme here. And in recent times, we've had The Watchers and Baghead, which both probably could fall under that kind of camp of being some sort of fairy tale-ish kind of tale as well. So you do wonder what that says about us as a movie-going public, that we're looking for that escapism into those fairy tale worlds, perhaps. Maybe we're wanting a little bit of disconnect from realism at the moment.
Yeah, nightmarish fairy tales.
Something a little bit more make-believe rather than the reality of what we're in.
Yeah.
Because it's true, we've had a lot of those life-defining, once-in-a-lifetime moments. We just keep having them. So
keep on coming.
So maybe some distraction has been good in our horror of late.
Well, that's the thing. And maybe there's, I don't know, if you stick to the straight and narrow and you keep yourself nice, you're not going to run into the big bad wolf, or maybe he's just going to come knocking anyway.
Ooh, that's deep.
Isn't it? Yes, mic drop there.
Wow.
But I wanted to ask, well, before we get to maybe how many creepy dolls we're going to give it out of 10, what was the favourite part for you both from the film? What was one of your favourite moments? Something that stuck out for you as something good and juicy?
Probably, as you say, the whole thing with that initial doll. I wish the payoff for that was somehow different, I guess. But initially, when they found that doll, and then when they've got the doll on the coroner's slab, or the what's it called, the forensic,
the autopsy. Yeah.
I thought, this is nuts. Is that thing? I thought it was going to be stitched together out of human body parts or something. I want to know what was inside it, what's going on with this doll. So that premise, that seed was probably my favorite part. Yeah.
I actually really liked it. It was a quiet moment. It was when she got back to her cabin and she was, I think, having a look and trying to decipher some work. And it was just, the direction from Oz Perkins was fantastic. I can sort of still see, he very deliberately left a lot of open space sort of above and behind her in the shot.
Yeah.
Which just invited you to keep looking behind her going,
I know what you're talking about.
And you sit there going, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Like, it gave you that dread because you were just like, she's too open, she's too exposed.
Something's going on behind her.
And I thought that was beautiful. That was a real chef's kiss moment. I was like, that is really good. I really liked that. Even though nothing actually really happened, because then I think she went outside. But
just like, what?
Just that thing, just like, I live alone at the moment myself, and you go, yeah, it's that thing. You just suddenly realise you can be quite exposed even though you are inside. And so I think that's that really boogeyman fairy tale element again
absolutely.
of just
Yeah.
what is out there past what you can see.
We didn't really talk about that. Like, I feel like we poked a lot of holes in this movie, or I've sort of griped about it a bit, but ultimately I liked it. I thought it had a lot of dread. It was, and like you say, really well shot. Lots of cool tension ramped up in scenes like that. Just the framing of it, things going on just outside of the field of view. Yeah.
What about you? What was your favourite part of it, Trace?
Look, I really quite enjoyed the film. There was many parts of it. I was like throughout it. I think probably, that opening scene and then the sort of opening credits, I was just like, this is going to be good. I just immediately was like, oh, I really, really like this. I just felt it set the scene. I loved the spooky fairy tale element. I kind of loved the snow. Like, it was making me think, I think of, there's been some werewolf films recently. There were, sort of like these sort of isolated villages that were snow covered. And I can't remember, there was one, I'll remember it. But I sort of, I expected, blood to be spilt and everything. I was just like, and then the red and, and I'm a huge Seven fan. So I was just immediately like, oh my God, this is going to be good.
Yeah,
so,
you and I both really like Seven and Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. So I think just tonally, I loved the visual style throughout the whole thing. It was just, and it was kind of Twin Peaksy as well. I sort of felt, with like log cabins and lots of sort of reddish fires and things like that. I was just the whole visual.
The David Lynch kind of Twin Peaks element, it's probably valid. There was some surrealist moments almost, wasn't there?
Yeah, totally surreal. Like there were parts where at beginning, I think probably the first 20 minutes, it just seemed we're jumping from one sort of surreal element to another, with the initial shooting and then with the start of the film, and then we're over here sort of meeting family, and then we're over here with the lifelike doll, and it's just like, where is this film going?
Pacing.
Yeah.
There's a video on YouTube that I haven't watched yet because I didn't want to skew things, but it's Osgood Perkins talking about 5 cinematic influences for this one. And I'm interested to watch because I did note just on the initial video, one of them is My Own Private Idaho somehow.
Oh yes, definitely. I can definitely see. Definitely, absolutely. Because that's also it's not a favourite film of mine, but it is a treasured film, and absolutely the way they shoot even the houses and the outdoor shots, definitely.
I did like that. They were all mundane kind of looking.
Yes.
They weren't like fancy houses.
Yeah, and the overcast skies and, that kind of run down, again, that idea of something that was once beautiful now run down. So I think, definitely that's an element there.
Sort of calls to mind Micah's great turn in It Follows, because it also has that kind of greyish suburban element to it.
Dreamlike qualities.
A couple other little things I wanted to throw in. Just connections to previous episodes, so we can always give it a bump. One of the production companies involved with this was Black Bear, which also helped with putting together Immaculate.
Okay.
Yep. So it might be a company to just keep an eye on. If you start to see the Black Bear logo, they might be people who are into a bit of horror stuff. And the other interesting little bit, working under a pseudonym, Oz's brother Elvis actually did the score for this film. And has actually done a few scores with Oz in the past. So there's a nice little brotherly thing going on there too.
Another lot of siblings at work.
Check that out.
Yes, other sinister siblings.
Other sinister siblings.
Yeah, so that's all very good. I think that's pretty much all the notes I've got on my stuff. Anyone got anything else they want to add in before we look to do our ratings, perhaps?
No, I think whatever else I've got, I'll keep warm for the next instalment.
Well, actually, let's probably talk about the next instalment. What is something you're going to look out for in the next viewing?
Maybe along those lines of the Carrie element. Look at that. See if there was any clues that I missed along the way about Longlegs, and maybe more, maybe the satanic stuff is foreshadowed a little bit at the beginning, and I just missed that because I was just busy looking at other things. So, and just saying, it's one of those things. Just love to have it expanded. How did he get into Satanism? What drew him there? How did he become so proficient? All of those things. I don't think that's going to be unearthed, but you never know. That's what we're looking at.
Fair enough. So you're going to look for answers that probably won't be there.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably.
What about you, Adam? What are you going to look for next time around?
I guess I just want to see if my harsh assessment of there's there's connective threads, those sort of that lead them to the killer. I kind of felt like all of that was a bit sort of flimsy and a little convenient. I want to watch it again to see if it actually does all track and make good sense and I'm just a dummy, or whether I'm valid in my opinion.
And yourself, Mark?
Now knowing the narrative from Go to Woe, I think probably I like to try and look at the supporting elements. Like I want to see a bit more perhaps what role her boss/partner plays. Because obviously it's very much Micah's film.
Yeah.
It's her story that we're going through, but you can sort of somewhat put that to the side a little bit because we don't need the mystery solved for us. We know what the mystery is in this particular case. So I want to see, because he's an odd character.
Yes.
He doesn't play it like a superior. He plays like, I can't wait to get back in the field. Like,
yeah.
And I think because he ends up obviously where he does and the role that he plays in the overall end of the film, I'm interested to see what's happening there. How does he unravel?
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that plays off, because he's obviously very highly emotive and she's very non-emotive.
Yes.
So it's how they play against each other. So I'm interested to see a bit more about that.
Dynamic. Yeah.
And probably actually visually knowing that the lair is under the mum's house, maybe look a little bit more at those heaps in the hoarding and sort of see what's behind all of that. Because it's obviously a very deliberate choice to have her live in a hoarded house.
Yeah.
So whether that's visually showing the baggage and the trauma around her of the life that she's led, or what that is, or as you said, it's that faded rocker element of things. Is it just, time's past?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm interested to look at some of that.
Yeah.
So what rating are we going with? What are we using?
Devil dolls or something? I don't know.
Creepy dolls?
Yes.
Creepy dolls?
Creepy doll, devil dolls.
Creepy diabolical doll.
That rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
So how many creepy diabolical dolls are you going to give it, Trace?
I think I would probably, I reckon 8.5.
Whoa.
I thought it was out of 5. Is it 10?
It's at 10.
Okay.
What about you then, Adam?
I'm going to give it 8 Satan dolls. I feel like there's an I don't know. People are saying this is like a new classic. I don't quite know if that's the case, but it's definitely one that I can easily recommend to people to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm only going to give it 6 satanic dolls myself.
Whoa.
Well, I've got to be honest with you. Like I said, I found it derivative, and I can't say it's a film I would want to revisit a lot. There's a lot of horror films I find that some...
Revisiting it at least once.
Well, you know what I mean? Like some horror films kind of give you that sort of weird kind of joy where it's kind of... There's a little bit of fun to be had with it. This is a very dreary movie.
Yeah, there's no...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's anything that would pass for humour in this movie. I don't think there's even a smirk to
the
be had.
end, the very end is humorous.
No, that annoyed
It was
me.
entirely played for laughs. Where they throw back to Longlegs in the prison.
Going, Hail Satan!
Did you?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, was that for laughs, was it? Okay.
Yeah. Because
Did you-
otherwise, why bother? It was
just
there for the Nick Cage fans.
That was just the dance puppets dance thing.
Yeah.
But, look,
But yeah, it's dour.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I couldn't see kids wanting to watch this at a slumber party.
No.
I'm not sure exactly the demographic it's aimed at. So, yeah, look, I got to say it's above mediocre. Like, it's definitely above a 5 out of 10.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm just saying it's quality product.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. Like, it's been put together well.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure the story's all that new or fresh.
No.
So that's, I guess, where I sit with it. It's done well, but
Yeah, I think it's sort of, I don't know, I think I kind of like it because it leans more into the art house sort of space.
see, to give you an example, something like Black Phone, I find is a much better type of film than this one.
See, I felt... Well, I don't know, we're wrapping up,
we're
but
going
I
out
found
of
that
time.
to be a pretty nasty movie.
Black Phone.
Yeah, mean-spirited.
But
Anyway,
which one, no,
let's-
as a bonus episode, though, which one would you take, though? Black Phone or Longlegs, if you were going to watch one?
Longlegs, because something that's like well shot and looks great and has, some great imagery in it can go a long way. Like, I can't really remember Black Phone. I don't think I'll be forgetting Longlegs anytime soon.
Black Phone 2's coming out. We might cover that on the pod.
Yeah.
If the grabber is back.
The Grabber. Disgusting.
And on that note,
And on that note, sorry, Ethan Hawke, if you're listening to this one.
yeah.
Love you, Ethan.
All right.
All right.
So what we'll have now will be a very brief break for you, but it'll be a lengthy-ish kind of break for us as we wait for Longlegs to make it onto streaming or home media. But you'll hear from us about Longlegs in just a moment. So for the moment, though, good night, everybody.
Au revoir.
Bye.